Team Lagerfeld here, back with another video reaction. And today we're going to be doing a video by Simple Paint. This one is the worst Olympic game deaths ever. I didn't know there were that many deaths during the Olympic Games. The only one that I think I know is there was like a bobsled accident during the Winter Olympics. I think that's the only Olympic death that I've ever known. But I didn't know there were so many, but yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and get into this video by Simple Paint and see which ones they have on the list. Let's go ahead.
1912 Stockholm Olympics. On July 14th, 1912, Portuguese marathon runner Francisco Lázaro lined up in Stockholm for what would become the deadliest marathon in Olympic history. The 21-year-old carpenter from Porto had trained in Portugal's moderate climate. At 1:45 p.m., temperatures reached 90 degrees Fahrenheit with oppressive humidity, making the 26-mile course a furnace of asphalt and dust. Before the race, Lázaro made a fatal decision. To protect himself from sunburn, he covered his entire body with a thick layer of beef fat and wax, creating what he believed would be protective coating against the sun's rays. Instead, he had sealed his skin in a waterproof barrier that would prevent his body from cooling through perspiration. As the 69 runners began the marathon, Lázaro started conservatively, running alongside competitors from Sweden, Finland, and South Africa. The early miles passed without incident, but as runners moved through the Swedish countryside, the sun climbed higher and temperatures continued rising. By halfway, several runners had collapsed from heat exhaustion and been pulled from the course. Lázaro continued despite showing early signs of distress. His breathing became labored, and sweat accumulated beneath the waxy coating, unable to evaporate and cool his body. At the 18.6-mile mark, witnesses reported that Lázaro was staggering and appeared confused, classic symptoms of heat stroke. His core body temperature was rising dangerously as his cooling system failed completely. With just 5 miles remaining, Lázaro collapsed suddenly on the dusty road near Södertälje. Spectators rushed to his aid, finding him unconscious and burning with fever. His skin was pale and clammy beneath the melted wax coating. Swedish medical personnel transported him to Serafimer Hospital in Stockholm, where doctors worked frantically to lower his body temperature. Despite their efforts, Lázaro never regained consciousness. He died the following morning from heat stroke and dehydration, becoming the first athlete to die during Olympic competition. His death led to new safety protocols for marathon races, including mandatory water stations and temperature monitoring. 2010 Vancouver Olympics. On February 12, 2010, Georgian Luger Nodar Kumaritashvili was making his final practice run on the Whistler Sliding Center track, just hours before the Vancouver Winter Olympics opening ceremony.
I think this is the one I heard of.
The 21-year-old athlete had trained his entire life for this moment, following his father and uncle, who had both represented Georgia in Luge. The Whistler track was notorious as the fastest and most dangerous in the world, with speeds regularly exceeding 93 miles per hour on its 4,480-foot course. During training weeks, several athletes had crashed, raising safety concerns. Italian Luger Armin Zögler had publicly criticized the track's design, calling it too fast and dangerous. Romanian racer Violeta Stramturaru had suffered a concussion after losing control, and several others had experienced crashes that damaged their equipment. At 4:44 p.m., Kumaritashvili began his run from the men's start position, lying on his back on the small sled as he accelerated down the icy track. The first several turns passed normally as his speed increased. By the track's most challenging section, he was traveling at approximately 90 miles per hour, well within normal range for experienced Lugers. As Kumaritashvili approached turn 15, known as 50-50, something went wrong with the steering. Video analysis showed his sled began drifting slightly left of the outer wall. He attempted to correct by applying pressure with his right leg, but the adjustment came too late and was too aggressive. His sled suddenly shot up the banking of turn 16, launching him into the air like a projectile. He was thrown from the sled at over 87 miles per hour, flying several yards before striking a steel support pillar holding timing equipment. The impact was horrific, causing massive trauma to his head and chest. Medical personnel reached him within minutes and attempted CPR, but the injuries were unsurvivable. He was pronounced dead at Whistler Healthcare Center at 5:50 p.m., just hours before the opening ceremony. Track modifications were immediately implemented, including higher walls and padding around steel supports. 1992 Albertville Winter Olympics. On February 22, 1992, Swiss speed skier Nicolas Beauchete was preparing for a routine training run at Val d'Isère during the Albertville Winter Olympics. The 27-year-old athlete was in France for a demonstration event showcasing speed skiing, where skiers reach speeds exceeding 125 miles per hour. Bochatai was experienced, but not among the sport's elite competitors. On this morning, Bochatai decided to take a casual recreational ski run on regular slopes, away from the speed skiing course. He wasn't wearing specialized speed skiing equipment, instead using standard alpine gear for what was meant to be a relaxing warm-up. Weather conditions were good, with clear skies
That's
and
the one that
well-groomed
did it,
slopes.
huh?
At approximately 10:30 a.m., Bochatai was skiing down an intermediate slope when he encountered an unexpected obstacle. A snow grooming machine was working on the slope to maintain snow conditions. These massive vehicles, weighing several tons with powerful engines and wide tracks, are commonly used to prepare and maintain slopes. What happened next remains partially unclear, but witnesses reported that Bochatai appeared to lose control or misjudge his line as he approached the grooming machine. Whether due to momentary lapse in concentration, equipment malfunction, or miscalculation, he was unable to avoid the massive vehicle. At his traveling speed, even on an intermediate slope, there was no time for evasive maneuvers once he realized the danger. Bochatai collided with the rear of the snow grooming machine with tremendous force, suffering massive traumatic injuries that proved immediately fatal. The impact was so severe that survival was impossible, despite immediate response from resort personnel and medical teams. His death sent shockwaves through the Olympic community and speed skiing world, leading to increased safety protocols for demonstration events and stricter guidelines
And
for
he was
athlete
just
and
trying to
resort
have fun.
operations interaction during Olympic Games. 1960 Rome Olympics. On August 26, 1960, Danish cyclist Knud Enemark Jensen lined up for the 62-mile team time trial at the Rome Olympics, unaware he was about to become the first athlete to die from drug use during Olympic competition. The 23-year-old was part of Denmark's four-man cycling team, competing in the grueling road race under scorching Italian sun, with temperatures reaching 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
104?
Jensen had been taking Roniacol, a blood circulation stimulant legal at the time, but later banned due to dangerous side effects, especially when combined with extreme exertion.
Which we're
and heat.
about to see,
The
right?
medication was commonly used by endurance athletes who believed it improved performance by increasing blood flow, but its effects in hot conditions were poorly understood. At 2 p.m., the Danish team began racing from Terme de Caracalla, with Jensen taking his turn at the front as they battled oppressive heat and the challenging course through Roman countryside. The team time trial required all four cyclists to work together, maintaining high speeds throughout the 62-mile distance. For the first hour, Jensen appeared to handle conditions well, rotating through the pace line and maintaining the rapid tempo necessary for Olympic competition. However, as the race progressed and afternoon heat intensified, Jensen began showing distress that teammates initially attributed to normal racing fatigue. His pedaling became less smooth, and he struggled to maintain position during his front turns. By the 54-mile mark, with just 8 miles remaining, Jensen was clearly in trouble. His teammates noticed he was weaving slightly and seemed disoriented, but encouraged
Is he
him
the
to
only one
continue
that
rather
took
than
it?
recognizing developing medical emergency signs. With 5 miles remaining, Jensen suddenly collapsed while riding, falling from his bicycle onto hot asphalt. His teammates and race officials immediately stopped to assist, finding him unconscious with severe heat stroke signs. His body temperature was dangerously high, breathing labored and irregular. Italian medical personnel transported Jensen to a Rome hospital, where doctors worked to lower his body temperature and stabilize his condition. Despite their efforts, Jensen died several hours later from heat stroke exacerbated by the circulation stimulant. The autopsy revealed that Roniacol, extreme heat, and intense exertion had overwhelmed his body's temperature regulation ability, leading to the first serious Olympic drug testing discussions.
Well, now they know.
1964, Innsbruck Winter
Too bad
Olympics.
that had to
On
happen.
January 25, 1964, Australian alpine skier Ross Milne was training on the downhill course at Paterkofel Mountain above Innsbruck, preparing for the Winter Olympics beginning in days. The 19-year-old from Sydney was one of Australia's most promising young skiers, representing his country despite limited access to world-class training facilities and snow conditions at home. Milne had arrived weeks early to acclimatize to challenging European racing conditions and familiarize himself with the Olympic downhill course, known for its technical difficulty and high speeds. The Paterkofel downhill was considered one of the most challenging courses on the international circuit, featuring a vertical drop of over 2,850 feet and sections
Vertical
where skiers
drop?
routinely exceeded 81 miles per hour. The course included several technical sections with sharp turns
Yo.
and elevation changes, demanding precise technique and split-second timing. During his training run, Milne was skiing at racing speed through the upper section when he encountered a particularly challenging sequence of turns requiring precise line selection and expert technique. Snow conditions were firm and fast, typical for World Cup-level racing, but unforgiving for any technical errors. As Milne approached a sharp left-hand turn at high speed, something went wrong with either his equipment or technique, causing him to lose control of his skis. In Olympic-level downhill, the margin for error is virtually zero, and once a skier loses control at racing speeds, recovery becomes nearly impossible. Video footage showed Milne attempting to regain control as his skis drifted wide of the intended racing line. Fighting to bring his skis back under control, he was carried off the prepared racing surface into trees bordering the course.
Oh, God.
At his estimated speed of over 62 miles per hour, the impact with trees was catastrophic. Milne struck several large pine trees sequentially, suffering massive trauma that proved instantly fatal. Ski patrol and medical personnel reached the accident site within minutes, but survival was impossible given impact severity.
Right, at
His
that
death
speed,
shocked
that's
the
like
Olympic
that's like
community
a car
and led
hitting
to
a tree.
improved downhill course safety measures, including wider safety margins
Just with no
between racing lines
protection.
and obstacles, better protective barriers, and more rigorous course inspection procedures still used in international ski racing today. Athens 2004 and Rio 2016. Olympic venue construction has claimed
What
numerous
the hell
lives,
happened here?
but Athens 2004 and Rio 2016 stand out for their tragic worker tolls. In Athens, the rush to complete venues created dangerous working conditions that proved fatal for multiple construction workers. On March 15, 2004, months before the Games, 45-year-old Dimitris Antonopoulos was working on the Olympic Stadium roof when safety cables failed. Antonopoulos fell 100 feet to his death while installing lighting equipment. The Greek government had delayed construction for years due to bureaucratic problems, forcing contractors to work around the clock to meet deadlines. Workers regularly worked 16-hour shifts without adequate rest, and safety protocols were often ignored. Another worker, 38-year-old crane operator Nikos Georgiou, died when his crane collapsed while lifting steel beams for the Aquatic Center on June 2, 2004. The crane operated beyond rated capacity due to construction acceleration pressure, and inadequate ground preparation caused the massive machine to tip over, crushing Georgiou in the operator's cab. At least 4 construction workers died building Athens Olympic venues, with dozens more suffering serious injuries. The Rio 2016
And they
situation
still held the
was even deadlier,
ceremony.
with Brazilian authorities acknowledging at least 11 construction worker deaths directly related to Olympic venues. On March 27, 2013, Anderson da Silva Santos was installing concrete forms at Olympic Park when a crane collapsed during high winds, killing Santos and injuring 4 others. The 440,000-pound crane operated in wind conditions exceeding safety guidelines due to schedule pressure. On April 3, 2014, 2 more workers died when the Itacarão Stadium roof section collapsed during installation. Fabio Luis Pereira and Ronaldo Oliveira dos Santos were crushed by falling concrete and steel, victims of inadequate structural support. The most tragic incident occurred April 21, 2016, when a bicycle path built for Olympic cycling events collapsed into the ocean, killing 2 people. The elevated path over Guanabara Bay suffered from design flaws and construction shortcuts. Brazilian investigators revealed systemic problems, including substandard materials, inadequate safety training, and pressure to cut corners to meet deadlines and budgets. These deaths highlighted the human cost of hosting Olympics and led to improved international oversight of construction projects. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe.
That's just inexcusable. That's so inexcusable. Like you're putting people's lives in danger for a public spectacle that doesn't even have to happen. I mean, you can cancel the damn Olympics. I mean, it's not that serious. You can have it in another 4 years. I don't know what, but like all these people are dying trying to do construction in a certain tight schedule. Just all of this all these people died just to save money, and that's what's wrong with the world. I mean, money has taken priority over human lives. I mean, you got people dying in Rio and in Greece, and both of those ceremonies happened. They went on with the show. No matter how many people were lost, they just went on with it. Just sad, just so pathetic. This world is so just terrible. Putting money and spectacle and TV shows and celebrities over construction workers' lives and safety. Is it that serious? Anyway, you guys. And also one thing I did notice is that a lot of things were put in place after tragedy happened. Like after the Luge situation where the guy crashed into the steel beam, all of a sudden they want to change the the design of the course, which they were already warned about before, and they could have done it then. But of course, once human life is involved, then all of a sudden everybody wants to act like, just like, oh god, like I don't understand it. People just, and I think the reason they probably wanted to keep it the way it was designed is for the spectacle of how dangerous it was. But then another human life is lost because they want to create a spectacle and go viral, and however you do that in that time. But yeah, that's just stupid. And then certain drugs being banned after a while because people are overheating, covering their body in wax and all of that, like, which gave us water stations and all that. But it's just, overall, it's just like so many tragic things had to happen in order to get safety protocol, which, I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but throughout history, it's always been that way, actually. So, but yeah, these deaths were all tragic and I feel like preventable. But anyway, guys, a great video by Simple Paint. Let me know what you guys thought about in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, be blessed, be your best, and keep down the stress. Bye, guys.